Hey everyone, it's Lennon, and I want to welcome you to what I'm calling the second edition extravaganza, okay? And a little on my thoughts on second editions. So, we've got two here that have just come in, prototypes. Now, if you're familiar with the channel, you know that I've recently came out with the Quintessential Thoth. I love this. It's an abstract deck, and there was just so much work that went into it that I ended up loving what I'm calling the first edition, the edition that's out now. And I want to thank everyone that has purchased the deck. But there were some suggestions, ideas, and even some changes that I wanted to make, and it took, I don't know, it took some tweaking, and it took some rumination for me, because I didn't know if I wanted to change the first edition, but I knew that I wanted it to be available to anyone that might want it. But I didn't want the first edition. Now, with the first edition, I have a Quintessential Thoth and a Thoth Mini, like I have it in a mini edition. So there's like two first editions out that look the same, with the, you know, the title, or no, the word of the number up at the top, and then the rest of the titles are at the bottom, just plain text. And it got me to thinking that I did kind of want to change that, just to see, and really it kind of started out as like, hey, let's see if I can make this work. And I was able to like get into some software programs that I have and tweak some things. And I'm actually really proud of this second edition. Now, the only reason that it's coming out so fast is so that the people that may have wanted the first edition, but they were kind of like, I don't really like how everything's placed in terms of the words. I like it this way, or I like it that way. I tried to geared it towards everyone. And that way, if you like it as a deck, but you didn't like how I manipulated the first edition, then the second edition would be for you. So I'm hoping that this goes over well. And I just got the prototype in, so we're going to take a look at this. Now, it will come shrink wrapped inside a black velvet bag. So, you know, anyone that purchases will get its own bag. Unless you're one of those that makes your own bags or buys bags, it doesn't matter. It'll come in its own bag regardless. And then this one is a second edition edition that I am calling the Wild Nature, Wild You Oracle Reimagined. Because for the first edition, I have been absolutely loving it. It's like my soul deck. There's a part of me that I consider the feral child, the feral wild woman. And it's a very important part of me that I work with all the time. And I've reimagined some of the images, and we're going to talk about both of these in this video. So it's just going to be kind of like a conglomerate second edition extravaganza. Okay. Geez, say that 3 times fast. Okay. So I'm going to move this out of the way and pull you into this. So velvet bag goes over there. Now, a little on, I may get the other edition out just to show you what I'm talking about. Let's do that. It's right here on my little tarot table, so I didn't have far to go. So the backs are the same. Okay, same cardstock. It's on linen cardstock, or the Make Plain Cards linen cardstock. And this is shuffled, so I didn't put it back in order for this, but regardless. Just to give you some examples, it just says prints and discs down here, right? Or the, you know, the number and the suit, right? But then that's what it is. And then for the majors, it's just like one word. Now, I like my tarot and oracles to look like this, where it's just words. It's not like big blocks or, you know, borders or anything like this. Oh my gosh, like, I just love this adjustment card so much. This deck was, it just gives me chills working with this. So that's how the first edition looks. And if you're interested in this edition, it is still available on my NPC page. However, the new edition, I kind of wanted there to be some sort of, I don't know, like block so that you can see the words better, if that makes sense. Because I know sometimes like in this, especially like when the image just happens to like be like this and you can't really see the word, I wanted that to be fixed. So for this edition, I put these beautiful brush strokes down that I found, and then just put the word in black on top for the majors. And I really like that it looks like kind of like, because since this is an abstract deck, it kind of reminds me of like walking through a gallery, like a modern art museum kind of a thing. And so I like the idea of this being like a brush stroke. Just really taps me into the art aesthetic of this deck. So let's see, here's the majors. Now I didn't change any of the images, so they're all the same. Let's move this over to the side. But so see, it like works really well. See how this Empress is very light. When I used it in the first edition, you can't really see the word Empress, so that it helps, I guess. I actually like how these turned out a lot because it's still borderless, but you can really see the words, the major titles, and I like that a lot. I love this devil card. So yeah, so there's the majors. You know, very simple. Now for the minor arcana, it's the same thing. Let's put this to the side. But I put like ace wands. That's it. So instead of it being at the top, anything being at the top, I put everything down at the bottom. Now, here's the thing about this deck. For the second edition, I have two editions, if you will. I have one that is plain, that just would say 2 of Wands, that's Roman numerals, without the Thoth keywords on them. I've got a listing that doesn't have this, but then I do have a listing, which is this deck, which will say keywords in all caps, and it will contain the Thoth keywords. And that's the one that I chose to buy. Like if I want to use this in Thoth Thursdays coming up, it will have the Thoth keywords on there, and it looks really, really good. So like how the keywords are in white, and the Roman numerals plus the suits are in the block, in the brush stroke. So good, so good. Look at that strength. This 9 of Wands is so freaking perfect. And then the Princess of Wands, same thing. It just says Princess Wands in the brush stroke. So let's show you a little bit more of the minors. Love for the cups, abundance. So good, so good. Look at this, this debauch card. Oh, I could eat it up, you guys. I could eat it up. Look at this satiety, happiness card. Oh, so good. Love this Princess of Cups. Now you see how this Prince of Cups, you can know this is a Prince of Cups, and there's no disputing that because of, you know, there's like no wonkiness. Like you can definitely, definitively tell what that is. So, Ace of Swords, 2, Peace, Sorrow. Look at that. So good. I love the use of abstraction in this deck, fractals, and it really does look like we're going through an art museum. So, like I said, for this particular deck that I'm showing you, it will be this Quintessential Thoth Tarot 2nd edition, keywords in all caps, if you want the Thoth keywords. But if you don't, and you just want this to be like a regular tarot deck without the Thoth keywords, then it'll just have the brushstroke with the Roman numerals and stuff on there. So yeah, like this one. This one is a really busy spirographic looking image. And so when I put Prince of Swords on there in this edition, it didn't really show up that well. So it shows up very well right there in the brushstroke. Love this Queen of Swords. Oh, so I hope you like this edition. I hope you like both of them. I hope it works out really well for you. If this is definitely, if this is something that you were interested in terms of the suggestions and changes, that's really the only reason it's out. I love this edition. It's my heart and soul, but because it's such a soul deck for me, both of these that I'm showing you today, this is such a soul deck. I like this probably a tiny bit more than my Wild Essence, and that's saying something. This just worked out so well that I wanted it to be available to anyone that may want it, but like, oh, I prefer this or I prefer that. So I just kind of wanted to put out a second edition that would gear to anyone. I want everyone that wants this deck to have this deck, but in their own kind of little, in their own way. So love it. Look at this power card. Oh, love it so much. I love this deck. And this with the keywords is going to be probably a new favorite in Thoth Thursdays for sure. How perfect is this Prudence card? Oh, okay. So enough about this. Oh, and for the 12 zodiacs, at the very end, this is a 90 card deck, and it does come with 12 zodiac signs. They're based on Crowley's writings of the zodiac, so, but it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want with them. But I did put the brushstroke and the word in the block, so they come with this deck, these editions as well. All right, let me clean up, and we'll get to the next one. Okay, now the second portion of this is going to be my wild nature, wild you. Like I said before, this is my wild nature, wild woman archetype coming out, and I made this for that archetype that lives in me, and it has been very profound. Now this is already shuffled, but I'm going to show you some cards for a second. They are photographs, and I know that that's not a lot of people's cup of tea, but it doesn't matter. This deck is very readable. It works so well, and I just love it so much. It's definitely a soul deck for me. Let's see. Illusion, Frenzy is probably my favorite card. But what I did was, after using it, I realized that some of the names weren't working. And it was upsetting because the deck and the concept of the deck was working. So some of the things that I needed to change were reimagined, which is what the whole purpose of the new release is. The first thing that needed to change was the animals. Now, I know that the animal kingdom is part of nature, but for my specific wild, like the wildness, I needed more nature images, not animal images. So, these are just some that I've changed to get this type of like wind dancer. That changed because while I'm a wind dancer, that's not something that's normal to the wild woman archetype or the wild person archetype, the feral person archetype. So I had to change that. So some of these were changed. They're beautiful. And it's still available. This is still available. I have if I do say so myself, I have an excellent guidebook that I wrote up that's on my KOFI page. It's like a PDF file. And the animals are beautiful, all of the animals that I present, but I needed to see if I could reimagine the deck and take the animals out and see if I could do something, I guess, reimagined better, if you will. I'll still be using this, but I'm really curious to know how this looks all put together. So when the prototype came, I just was so happy and haven't even looked through it yet. So let's do that now. And like I said, I kept some of the images, like, I mean, probably half the deck hasn't changed. But the ones that I would just like had in 2 stacks did. Like Pathwalker, that's no longer a card. That's an animal, so that went away. But anyway, so, and I didn't put this in order, so it's not in the same order as this. So we can't really look at it side by side, but we'll just see what we can see, okay? Riotous is the same, the volcano. I put cosmic here because I knew that my feral archetype needed like a macrocosm. So that's new. I love this cardstock. I took some pictures of bones that I wanted in the first edition, but it didn't make it. They didn't make the cut, so I put them in this edition. This creepy bone is so beautiful. I actually didn't take this specific image, but the other ones I didn't end up making the cut either. This one just worked better. And I realized I didn't have a dandelion, and that's like a huge part of my childhood. Even today when I see them, I like make wishes, so I knew I needed that in that inner child feral archetype place. Now, let's see if I can, the Jaguar was an important card to me, but again, it's not something that I needed in the deck. The concept is the same, but the Jaguar, like looking at the Jaguar, didn't generate what I needed it to generate. So I changed the animal cards to be their domain instead. And that's, I'm thinking that that's going to work out really well. So Prowl is now the jungle. And love it so much. I chose this for free. Birds. Illusion is still the same. Instead of Pathwalker, I chose the word follow with another path image. I love this. Now see here, this is on top. This balance was a man-made path. I really needed to take the man-made structures out of it if I could. So I chose a succulent for balance instead, and that just works so well. These are the same. Transients, I needed a transient card for that fleeting energy, and the rainbow. What better image than the rainbow? Look at Serene. It's like the bottom of the sea. Love it. We'll get this out of here. Yielding. This is a crops. This is seasonal magic. This is seasonal wildness. This is harvest. And I just love it. Look at this image of the cornfields. Oh, love it. This is the same. The burrow. Distant. I love this autumn image so much. These are the same. Now, this and Roar had the lion and the wolf. But instead, I chose to do their domain. So I did the blood moon here for Howl, and I did the Sahara, or no, not the Sahara, the Savannah for the lion. So it's their domains now instead of the animal itself. And I think that's gonna work to generate more of what I need it to in this oracle. So look how perfect they are. Pause, Winter's Pause. Clever, instead of the fox, is now the lotus. Because what better plant is there? What more clever plant is there than the lotus? Actually, I'm doing this. Oh, okay. Hysteria, Dream, these are all the same. The Wall for protection. The guide was the Robin because I had such an affinity for the little, the Secret Garden that I chose the Robin in the first edition. I chose the Robin in the first edition, but for a more natural image, I chose the shooting star. I mean, what beautiful. What is that? Oh, the mountain roots. This is the same. It's the same. The glacier. The glacier, in terms of shadow work, the iceberg is a powerful thing. I love it so much. This, like inside this glacier, is beautiful blues here. Oops, sorry, shaking the camera. Create. It's the Yellowstone. the mineral pockets in the dirt. Look at that bonfire. It is so, so beautiful. All right, like I said, these are the same. Now, like the diligence card was the diligence of the, you know, the bee, but I chose the honeycomb instead of the bee imagery. So like I said, when I changed these, it was because I knew I needed to take the animals out and put their domains in, and that's really going to be good. That's really going to be really good. So, ooh, I did stalactites and stalagmites for adaptable, because we're adaptable wild creatures. This wave cresting on the rocks. We are tempestuous. We are majestic. Look at that. Purple mountain majesty right there. Nurture. I love this tornado for unpredictable. My parents used to always tell me that tornadoes were unpredictable, and that's why they were named women. That's just something that I've always thought about. Unkempt. This is supposed to like represent hair, like hair flowing and being wild. Rebirth. This wheat speaks of sunrises. Deficient. I love this. That sometimes we're depleted and we have to know how to replenish ourselves. Instead of the owl, I believe is right here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. I chose the owl for wisdom, but again, I was taking the animals out and I decided to use tree rings, and this is perfect for this. I love it so much. Grace was the swan, but this is the grace of spring. Buds and the magic of that. And then I left Weaver because there wasn't a spider present. It was just the web. And for some reason, I just could not take this image out. So there you go. It's a 63 card deck. This is on thick standard. It's very, it's big, but it is shuffleable. Oh, I love shuffling this deck. But it is big. It's chunky. And I do have a new Wild Nature, Wild You reimagined PDF on my Ko-fi page for you to download if you buy the deck. So, like I said, the first edition is still available, the ones with all the animals in it. But this new edition will be a new favorite of mine for sure. I'll be using the hell out of this. And I hope that if you're interested in working with your wild archetype within, that this is a deck that you will give it a try, because it's definitely so good. Like, look at that. Oh. I mean, you wouldn't think that it works, but it does. It just does. Look at this. We're in a cave, but in the jungle, but in a tree. Just using nature to tap into your wild self. Oh, look at this. This imagery is all about clouds. I love this. Yep, definitely a new favorite of mine. Sensuous diligence of the bees. Oh, okay. This is so good. So good. Look at that nectar. I love that nectar card. Look at that. Oh, okay. This is going to be a fantastic deck, you guys. Oh, and like I said, first edition and this new second edition is available on my NPC page. If I have a PDF, they're all available. Like for a deck, they're all available on my Ko-fi page, and everything is linked below. So let me know how you like the new additions. And please come back to the channel, because we'll probably be using all these additions sometime in the near future. Much love. Hope you're having a great day.